What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Phaithful Phanatics show. As always, we are live here on the DSM-Media Twitter page as well as the DSM Philly YouTube channel. Scotty's live over on the DSM TikTok channel, a TikTok page as well. If you're following over there, if you can hear me, we appreciate you for tapping in on the TikTok. If you want to subscribe, if you want to be interactive, make sure to check us out on Twitter first at DSM_media is where you can find us. Smash that follow button. And then, like he mentioned on TikTok a few moments ago, check out the YouTube link. It's in our link tree in our bio. Subscribe, share, like, whatever you got to do. We greatly appreciate each and every one of you that taps in here with us. The Eagles with the 23rd overall pick last night, Scotty, trade up ahead of the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are on the phone with the young wide receiver out of USC already, thinking they got him because the Cowboys are going defense at 20. The Birds jump ahead with a trade with the division foe in Dallas, and they go ahead and get the nation's best wide receiver last year, Makai Lemon. We're going to talk about our thoughts for that pick. We got a poll to grade that draft pick as well. What's it mean for the future of this team, the future of the wide receiver room this upcoming year? Obviously, it's all going to circle and revert back to the A.J. Brown conversation. And like you mentioned over there as well, big weekend ahead, man. We got Sixers Celtics game 3 back in Philly tonight at 7. Tomorrow, the Flyers can go for the sweep at 8 against Pittsburgh. So we'll talk about if they can wrap that up or if this series is headed back to Pittsburgh for game 5. And then Sunday as well, right? Sunday night hoops. You got Sixers Celtics game 4, which we might be live for a pregame show there anyway. So we don't maybe not have to dive too much into that one. But nonetheless, we'll talk about the weekend as a whole. My man, happy Friday as always. What's happening?
Oh, let me get off mute there. Happy Friday. Yeah. Happy Friday to everybody that's viewing, hopefully from the YouTube channel and X if you're viewing there. And then to everybody who's viewing over on our TikTok live stream. We are live over there as well. Just trying out some new things, as Dylan mentioned. And excited for this show, man. An exciting Friday. I feel like it's a majorly positive type of Friday as well. And so for that, I'm more than excited to dive right in today, man. But how are you feeling on this fine Friday, brother? It's been a pretty good week for Philadelphia sports. It's been a
great week of Philadelphia sports. It's been a great week of content. You and I were texting about throughout the week. It's, I don't want to say rare that you feel very proud or very happy of like just, of the work we do or the pod and the podcast we do, but very busy this week. Going to continue it over this weekend, hopefully, and continue this push moving forward. But no, you and I were talking about it on yesterday's show heading into draft night. We kind of wrapped up the show with it. Just not out of touch, but just a little unplugged heading into the 2026 NFL draft than we really have been in previous years. And that a lot of it had to do with the A.J. Brown drama. Every single time the Philadelphia Eagles organization is written, spoken about, whatever, nationally, locally, it's all revolving around the A.J. Brown drama, the trade rumors. You got the Vrabel, Rossini stuff going on, which, oh my God, she's the fucking conductor of the A.J. Brown to New England train. How real is all of that? Well, it's seeming pretty damn real after Adam Schefter tweets out that, June 1st, post June 1st, A.J. Brown is more than likely going to be a New England Patriot. But still, all eyes on the Eagles last night at 23 still felt like Howie was going to the trenches. And I know it's a very cliche thing to say. We have not seen Makai Lemon throw on an Eagles uniform and pads yet. We have no idea how this is going to shape out, work out. But it feels like Howie did it again. And what I mean by that is this kid was arguably a top 15 pick to a lot of people. Some people had him going even higher than that. Some people had him as the best wide receiver coming out in this draft class. Obviously, Carnell Tate goes 4 overall to the Titans. And then, what was it? Jordan Tyson from ASU goes around 10 or whatever. So he's the third wide receiver off the board. But when a talent seems to be falling over the past couple of years, Howie Roseman attacks the draft board and goes up and gets it, regardless of need, want, fit, whatever. The talent is the talent, and that's what he did last night with Makai Lemon. And then, obviously, again, all eyes go to, well, that probably signifies the end of the A.J. Brown era here in Philadelphia. We'll talk about that in a few moments, but Lemon seems like a stud, man. I'm not going to sit here and preach to you guys that I was the biggest Makai Lemon fan coming out of this draft class. It wasn't a position that I thought we were going in the first round, so it wasn't something I was really diving into and looking into. But if you can win the Biletnikoff award in your senior year or his junior year, whatever he was last year coming out of USC, first team All Big Ten, first team Associated Press All-American, almost 1,200 receiving yards, double-digit touchdowns. He's 5'11", about 195, can play all over, but is more of a slot type of guy, and that's what's got me excited for the Grizzard, Mannion type of offense. Mannion coming from that McVay-LaFleur tree. You mentioned it to me pre-show about Dontavian Wicks kind of fitting that same mold. Shout out to Mark Henry Jr. He's the one that posted the numbers. I don't have the tweet pulled up here, but I think he said 26% of Lemon's receptions last year, or targets even, came outside of the dash marks, outside of the hitches. So middle of the field. Puka Nacua-esque, not player, but you get what I'm saying. The role that McVay runs.
Lofty name you're throwing out there.
No, not that he's going to be Puka Nacua. The role.
I get the idea.
Moving him all around, middle of the field, physical type of receiver. That's what Makai Lemon seemingly seems to fit in this Eagles wide receiver room as of right now.
Yeah, everything you said, man. I just think the profile, it's just so different from anything that we've had in the previous seasons, right? You think of a guy like Jahan Dotson, who we tried to throw in that wide receiver 3 role, and maybe it's not wide receiver 3, maybe it's more just try to throw him in that slot receiver role, and he just didn't excel. He didn't make his mark in that role. It's not to say that he was horrible or anything. He didn't get a lot of targets, but a lot of that is separation and the inability to get open, things like that. And so I think when you look at him and then just think, well, let's just slide Makai Lemon into that role and see what that looks like. And that's where I start getting ultimately excited about what we can do with this guy. I think there's a world with AJ that he can be there as wide receiver 3. I don't think that in my mind, that's not how it equates, but I think that it can be. That's not something that's off the table until AJ Brown is traded, obviously. I think he fits well beside AJ and Smitty. I think he would slide right into that wide receiver 3 role. But do you trade up and draft a guy at number 20 when you have other positions, maybe not of need, but of priority that you could go after? Now, I texted you this last night. There was a stream of tackles. All of the guys that we were eyeing yesterday that we talked about on the pod, the Georgia, the Alabama guys, right? All of those guys were taken between 10 and the 20 picks, right? I think the streamline started with Miami or one of those teams around 10 or 9, taking the first offensive lineman, and then it just went on a roll there. And so maybe that's why you get pushed into taking a wide receiver. Maybe that's part of it, right? Like maybe if that Georgia offensive tackle is still there, or that Alabama Caden Proctor, he got drafted pretty early, but if he's still there, maybe you do take your offensive tackle at that point. But like you said, given the value, given the seeing the response around the league from all different areas. I mean, Steve Smith videos I've seen, Chris Long, obviously a former Eagle, but he goes on and, hammers the table for this kid. There's a lot of praise floating around for this guy. And as you mentioned, he did win the best wide receiver in football award in college football last year. So he is obviously a high quality prospect that we're bringing in, but I love the idea. Like you said, it's a profile of wide receiver that we just simply did not have. Now, I think Dontavian Wicks, I think we're trying to fulfill that profile. And I think the idea of it, right? I was talking about this when we were watching Seattle just run through the playoffs. We watched ASN last year, just be like this unstoppable force in the middle of the field, this safety blanket for his quarterback. And I think that's the idea here. I think you have your big play guys. You have your AJ Brown that can go up and get those deep throws from Jalen, right? Smitty can do the same. Now, to be fair to Smitty, I think Smitty, he can do a lot of everything. But with that being said, you have your guys for those long plays. We need those short intermediate guys that can create separation in the short in the mid in intermediate spaces of the field, man. So that's what I'm excited for this guy. I'm excited for the potential of running after the catch. That's something that we did not have any of last year. And, you know, that's where I looked at A.J. Brown and I'm like, what's going on here? Because he is a guy that used to be able to, you know, break a tackle or two and get some yardage after the catch. But I'm just excited that we're making the room younger. I said it to you before the show. I think if you take, and you can't take it out, but if you do, if you take out the A.J. Brown rumors and everything that's going on, right, there is a world where this makes sense even without A.J. Brown forcing his way out.
Without a doubt.
Financially, right? Yeah. How much money is invested into that wide receiver room? You do have A.J. approaching 30. You have Smitty, who is on a high price contract, who looks like he can be wide receiver one if he gets the opportunity, right? I think there's a reality where this would make sense financially anyways. But once again, ideally, we have A.J. Brown wide receiver one, we have Smitty wide receiver two, and we have Makai Lemon. That is ideally what
I like the optimism. I love the optimism. I would hope so. Here's why last night and this pick, man, is kind of just like a roller coaster of emotions. Because, like I said to you to start, it starts off as a surprise, as a shock, because it's not where I and most people thought Howie Roseman was going to go. Even if people were fully bought into A.J. Brown's leaving here June 1st or after June 1st anyway, still you weren't thinking trade up for a wide receiver in the first round. So it catches you off guard. It's a shock to the system at first. Then it hits a little sadness because the 4 years of A.J. Brown, we traded for him on draft night, and now we're basically on draft night 4 years later, signifying that era is over. All in all, we'll talk about this in a few moments, the A.J. Brown era was a huge success. That trade back in 2022, playoffs every year, 2 Super Bowl runs, a Super Bowl championship, win-win for both sides. He's almost 30 now. Now it kind of changes the end. Now the excitement's starting to kick in because, like I said, the shock factor value's in here as well. But look, Smitty won a Heisman Trophy at Bama. Okay, when you take a wide receiver top, we traded what? We leapfrogged the Giants at 10 or 9 or whatever with the Cowboys. I think it was the 9th overall pick that we selected Smitty at, maybe 10th. But when you trade up top 10 to get a Heisman winner, that excitement is a different level, right? That type of player is a different level. We all remember the Justin Jefferson, Jalen Reagor debacle. Was CD Lamb that same draft class? I can't remember if Dallas took him earlier in the draft or whatnot, but there's a bunch of wide receivers flying off the board that you knew were going to be special in that one as well. If AJ does go, you and I have talked a lot about, you're just not a better football team without AJ Brown this year. And I still am not trying to put all the pressure of the world on this kid's shoulders day one. You're still not as good of a football team. But there's different ways to build a wide receiver room.
Yeah.
And what they're doing this offseason and what they did last night has my disappointment of losing AJ way down than I initially thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
When you trade for to get to the 20th pick and take a kid that people had as whether the best wide receiver coming out, Carnell Tate, I think, is 99% people's best wide receiver coming out. He went 4th overall, for Christ's sakes. But top 2, maybe top 3, because Jordan Tyson did go ahead of him. You take a top 2 or 3 wide receiver in this draft class with 20th overall pick in the first round. The expectations do come with that. So this is no, we drafted someone down the road that can replace AJ. He's young. No.
He can't be a Jahan Dotson level input.
No. Look, we're not going to get into wide receiver 1. Smitty's elevated to wide receiver 1, but now you might have a damn good wide receiver 2 on your hands. On top of trading and extending for Dontavion Wicks, on top of signing Elijah Moore and Hollywood Brown. you can build a wide receiver room in different ways. And that's where this draft pick has me last night is it has eased the blow of moving on from number 11 if that's what happens this summer.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great way to put it. And that's what we've been looking for is one, signs that maybe it is really going to happen outside of just Diana Rossini reports. But so that's one thing. But then on the other side, what are you going to do to try to fill that large gap that will be left once AJ would leave? And the other thing that I'll throw in, two things I'll throw in here that I, find interesting. The guys that they brought in, it seems like they are investing into production in the middle of the field with the passing game, right? What is the indictment on Jalen Hurts? It's not my indictment. I'm just talking about the general consensus of people, of Jalen Hurts haters out there, right? He can't see the middle of the field. He doesn't throw to the middle of the field. He doesn't use the middle of the field in the passing game. That's what I hear all the time. I think this is indications that we're going to solve that issue. So now, if we do have an issue getting the ball into the middle of the field, there's some red alerts that are.
I think that's a fair point. Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think that's a fair point where there's, and especially with the OC that you brought over, none of us know what Sean Mannion's offense is going to look like.
Right.
But we have an idea, and let's just say I don't expect hitch routes to the boundaries over and over and over again. Okay.
Right.
So if that is occurring, then it does make you question who's kind of getting the final say because of what they want to do. Or and I don't think that's it. Like I am not. Yeah. And I don't think you do either. I think we're both on board that Jalen is more than fucking capable of using all areas of the field. And this was an OC problem last year.
Yeah.
But to be fair to you, if that reoccurs this year, then those sirens do start to go off of, okay, you have guys that operate in the middle of the field. You have an OC who wants to use the middle of the field.
Yeah.
What's going on? So
you have guys that have had success there. Why can't
let's say that doesn't happen this year?
Yeah, let's not have that happen, but that is something I am looking at. The other thing that I thought was really interesting about Makai Lemon's post-draft.
I loved it. I loved it.
Something interesting he said, man. He sees two guys on this team that he looks up to and wants to kind of model his mentality.
I missed this part.
And he mentioned only Jalen Hurts and only Devontae Smith when he said that. And I found that very, very, very interesting that he would pinpoint those two. And I get it. Maybe he's just being really honest, but I took it as more than honesty. I took it as like I don't want to say a promise, I don't want to say it like that, like a promise to the city that I'm not going to act like a fucking
diva. But I don't think that's what I was just going to say, man. He's very people were talking about this on the NBC Philly kind of chatter after the selection show that he's very football like Quinyon Mitchell is.
Yeah.
He's playing or practicing or working towards that. He's watching film. If he's not watching film, he's watching football. Like he's watching football. So like that's the vibe you do get, like hard-nosed, competitive, head down, going to show up to work each and every day. Someone made a joke that if he doesn't have 15 targets in a game, you don't have to worry about him going to the sideline and opening up a book. But it is interesting, to your point, that when you name those two, and obviously one's the quarterback, and one's a Heisman Award-winning wide receiver, so I get that. But you leapfrogged the most talented wide receiver to say Smitty's name.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the interesting part.
And he mentions what he likes about Smitty and Jalen Hurts is their ability to block out the noise and ignore distractions. So
it's fast. Yeah, look, it's a shot, but it's not a shot. They're technically teammates right now, but we don't foresee that going to be a problem moving forward. All in all,
I'm excited.
I'm very excited. I would give the pick an obvious people. What did we trade? 2 fourths. I think we trade a pair of fourths to trade up with them in the 23rd.
picks and shit like thrown to it.
Yeah, and Howie's 4th round picks have not accumulated to anything over the last couple of years. Kayvon Wallace comes to mind. Gilly Ringo comes to mind. An offensive lineman that doesn't play here anymore. I forget his name, but like just Will Shipley, I think, is like the most talented 4th round pick Howie has accumulated over the last 6 years. So
can I ask you one more thing?
Yeah.
How do you feel about the Cowboys like giving us access to our wide receivers like this?
It is funny. Like, it is because it's who we traded with to leapfrog the Giants. Now the Steelers. We traded with. Did we trade with Washington to go up and get Coop in the 2nd round last year?
Was it Washington?
It was either to leapfrog Washington or we traded with Washington.
Didn't we trade with somebody for Carter too, or was it Davis that we traded up?
We traded up to get Jordan Davis. Yes. We might have traded up a slot to get Jalen Carter as well inside the top. I think at like 9 or 10 as well because I think he fell. Yeah,
right.
I think somewhere right around there. So that's the point, man. When the talent is there,
you go and get
Howie's going to go make the move. He's not going to overpay. Yeah. He reads the board incredibly well. Like you said, I would give this pick an A+ just because of the optics of it. This kid obviously is extremely talented coming out of USC. At the end of the day, with what draft night brings, no one knows who anyone is until they go and suit up in September. That's when we'll find out how to really grade this pick. But off of last night, yes, it is a win for the Eagles. And it's exciting because I think that's the point. I think we're going into this like, okay, tackle, it's not going to really play this year. Going to go and back up Lane. If Lane gets hurt, he comes in, he helps, and he's Lane's replacement down the line.
Right in time. We're about to talk about VJ.
Yeah, there he is. I can't.
You ain't hiding
I don't
from
want to
that.
say I can't wait because I do respect Tanner McKee as a backup. But even though we brought in Andy Dalton, so Andy Dalton's probably. I can't wait for him to trade Tanner McKee in a day or two. Then Pumper has nothing to talk about after that, or he'll say that Andy Dalton.
It'll be the Dalton show.
Yeah, it'll be the Dalton show. Yeah, Pump, you missed yesterday's show though, man. We missed you. There's radio silence on your end after VJ walked into Boston and slaughtered the Celtics and brought home a Game 2 victory. Didn't hear from you.
What was that with Lucky?
What happened?
I love it.
Oh yeah, I respect
Lucky it. Game, nothing special.
Tell the people if you're still live on TikTok, Scotty, tell the people to jump over to the YouTube so they can interact with Corporate Brian Pumper.
Yeah, guys, if you're wondering what I'm talking about here, we got Corporate Pump over here on the YouTube channel. He's our well-known troll if you watch over on YouTube, and
calls himself a fan, more so of a hater.
He is a grade A hater. So yeah, if you want to see his comments, hop over to the YouTube channel.
The best part about him is like he's a grade A hater on almost everything that's good in this city sports wise. And he's a grade A lover of most of the garbage that is left for scraps in this city sports-wise. Well, I listen, of course he has to do it a little bit more, but that's not the point. You were sitting here talking about Con Knippel. Con Knippel got benched in a playing game because he couldn't be on the floor, and VJ went into Boston and dropped 30 and 10.
Like, you can give him some credit. Like, you don't have to say he's going to be a superstar. You cannot call it lucky, though. Like, 30 points, 10 rebounds. First player to do it since Tim Duncan.
Yeah, like that doesn't just happen. Mind you, Scotty, where else did he drop? Where else did he drop basically 30 or 30 plus? I think it was the first night of the season in a certain building this year. Oh, in Boston, his first ever NBA regular season game, he killed the Celtics and pulled out a win for the Sixers.
Tanner, not garbage, but VJ's nothing special.
They're leaving him wide open. Yeah, and now they're going to have to adjust their defense because of it, which can open things up for Maxey and Paul George, and if the big fella comes back.
Yeah, exactly, man. But no, I just thought that was funny. I wanted to point that out as soon as Pump got here in case he tries to head out early before we dive in. But anything else on the Eagles, man, before we do move on?
No, what are we looking at? Not looking at. Because again, if I wasn't super tapped into night one with expectations, Day 2, I'm not sitting here pounding the table. Where do you expect them to go position-wise, right? Is it now because this is a deeper draft class? Is it now the trenches? Is it now offensive line for the future? Safety obviously is a need for this team. They could look there. So that's kind of where my mind goes now, moving over to the weekend.
I would go, offensive line depth, or obviously if you got a prospect you really like, as a, potential replacement for Lane, you could take that prospect maybe second round and go that route. But yeah, I do agree on safety. I think Makuba is still a question mark. Even though he did show some signs last season, he is a question mark. Obviously you lose Reed Blankenship this offseason. So yeah, I think there's a hole to fill. You would like to have at least 3 competent safeties going into the season.
Right, just in case something, not just an injury, just in case one of them can't
play.
Right? Because we don't know enough about Andrew Makuba. The one thing we do know is that he is undersized. Now, can he overcome that? We'll find out. He made a couple plays. He got beat on a couple plays early in his rookie year. That happens. Then the injury just derails all of it, and so we don't know anything about that. So, and then beyond Andrew Makuba, I mean, Christ, Sidney Brown?
No, we traded him.
Oh, yeah. Wait, who's on this depth chart?
There's somebody that's slipping my mind. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but
we brought back Marcus Epps.
Oh, Marcus Epps, and I did see. I think we kept Michael. Is it Michael Robinson? The second is that
Michael Carter. Michael Carter. And that he can slide over to play safety potentially. Yes.
An option. Well, but we need to add a real safety.
Right. The problem is we know nothing about that experiment as well.
Yeah, we need to add a safety to the
right.
I could see that like 3rd or 4th round. I do think we go offensive line in this next. Trenches, maybe not just offensive line, but maybe defensive line as well.
Right. I sent you that tweet yesterday. Then I saw someone else tweet it out. Maybe this is a day 2 thing. Maybe it's an over the weekend thing. But apparently, I don't know if the guy is a Vikings reporter, if he's an NFL reporter, whatever it is, like slipped that the Vikings have a deal in place with the Eagles. And then they're like, oh, that's not official. Are you breaking news? And he was like, it's not. So I don't know, but anyway, Jonathan Grenard, I almost forgot the name. Grenard, the linebacker from Minnesota. I saw someone, the first comment was like, 3 sacks. Yeah, can't wait. Yeah, I'll take Grenard. Yeah, I will gladly take Grenard on this team.
Yeah, exactly. I get it. Jalen Phillips, didn't love losing him, but you saw the price tag that he got. You got to replace him with something. So Grenard would not be a bad replacement. It doesn't have the name value of some of the names we discussed earlier in the offseason, but he's still a high-quality vet for sure.
Well, first, the vet, I mean, he's only been in the league since he's 28. He came in the league in COVID. He had 12.5 sacks in 23 with Houston. He had 12 sacks his first year in Minnesota in 24. And then he had a down year with 3 sacks last year, only 19 combined tackles. I don't know if he was hurt. I'm not on his games played. Let's see.
Did he play? If it was a contract thing, maybe?
It looks like he was healthy last year. Just a very, very down year, I guess, for Grenard.
Depends on the compensation that you'd have to give up at that point, right? Taking a shot not a shot in the dark, but
no, and he had 8 sacks his second year in Houston as well in 2021. So, I mean, the guy's got 3 years of 8, 12, and 12.5. I think he knows how to get after the quarterback in this league, and in a Vic Fangio scheme surrounded by this talent. Yeah, I would gladly take a 28-year-old Jonathan Grenard on this team, depending on the value. But that's the thing I just trust at this point, because that's where everyone's mind goes, well, what are we going to give up? I trust that Howie's just not going to overpay. That's what I trust. So we shall see. Got you. I'm assuming that meant 103 or 203.
Oh yeah, my bad. Yeah, 103. My bad.
Oh yeah, all right. No worries.
That's when the other thing ends.
I saw 203. I was like, All right, man. Let's get into tonight's action. Game 3 at the Xfinity Mobile Arena. Sixers, Celtics. I think the line being the home team now and obviously winning game 1 greatly swings things a little bit. Last time I saw, the Sixers were 7.5 point underdogs in this one. How are we feeling before we get into, any keys, what you're looking for? How are we feeling about tonight's energy heading into the matchup?
It is it's weird, man. I feel like I have come down a little bit, if that makes sense. It's not that I don't think they'll come out and compete. I just think this is such a big turning point in the series. Like, it's such a big opportunity. And so, I wonder what the Celtics are going to do tonight. I'm just trying to think of ways that they could maybe change their approach or, try something different. Maybe it is more attention on VJ and, maybe it's less eyes on Mac. I just don't know if that's like a good idea for them. Like, I think I would still just let VJ kind of find his way. And if you want to do that 2 games in a row, like, do that. I am still optimistic. I know that the Sixers can beat the Celtics without Joel Embiid. We just did it in Boston. We are going to be at home. The black jerseys are going to be out. It's going to be rocking, I would imagine.
Forgot about that, rocking the 0-1 court all throughout the postseason at home.
It's still the Celtics.
Yeah.
It's still who I would say is the best team in the East, before the playoffs started. And even now, I would still say it. It's such a big game. It's such a game that the Sixers lose all the time, like every time, right? Like, they will get your hopes up. They'll win that big game 2 in Boston, and then they'll come back home and just get blown out. The Celtics will look like the championship Celtics, and then the Sixers just look like they're missing Embiid.
And then we're back to square one of, man, I can't believe I thought that they stood a chance.
But if they win tonight,
if they fucking win tonight,
if they can just pull out a win, if they can just somehow, whatever it takes type of shit, pull out a win tonight, the series just looks really fucking interesting. And the pressure just cranks up so much for Boston.
Tell them. I agree. And I think where you started with the whole VJ and Celtics defensive ideology tonight is kind of where I want to start for this game 3, because I do agree with you in the sense that it was one game, and I'm not trying to back Pumper here, but it was one game in his first ever postseason, and he shot like 0 for 5 or 0 for 6 in game 1 from 3. So it is kind of okay, Rook, let's see you do that again, right? In this series 1-1, before I make this crazy adjustment and let Maxey off the hook a little bit, let me see you do that again. Here's what I want to ask you, though. Now, obviously, VJ just did it. And VJ, I think of all the others outside of Maxey, is the guy that is probably most capable of doing so. It doesn't have to be VJ to starting someone other than Tyrese Maxey has to come out and start the game off hot, or has to be making open shots to transform that Boston defense.
Yeah.
Because, look, Maxey has to be better early on. He can't score 29 points on 28 shots, but the way he closed out game 2 was fucking incredible, right?
Yeah.
If Maxey comes out and hits 3 threes in the first quarter, that's awesome. Like, first of all, you take points from anybody, especially your best player getting going. That is awesome, but that's their focal point. So they're going to keep firing at him. If VJ does it again early, or Paul George comes out making shots early, or to Gint's point, Kelly, who's in the starting role, or if Grimes gets a quick, if one other guy, swing, knock down 3, swing, drive, bucket, if one other guy can start out hot, it shifts what Joe Mazzulla has to do on defense, because you can't keep getting beat by someone else because you're focusing on Tyrese Maxey. It'll become malpractice at some point. Now, you could say, hey, I'm going to live and die by this. Like Tyrese Maxey's not beating me. But let's say VJ comes out again and has 7 quick points. You gonna just watch that show again? You're going to sit back and keep doing what you're doing?
Trying to think it through. I mean, I don't know. I think it's just the fact that the Celtics would have to think about it. I think that in itself.
Just that, right?
Yeah,
just the fact that it's
doesn't matter what
there.
decision they make. Just the fact that they would have to think about it is a thing within itself. It's a positive aspect for the Sixers in itself because you're forcing them to adjust in some manner. I do get it. Yeah, I do think Kelly. I think we could see a big Kelly game tonight. My mind just goes to Paul George, man. Like, he's like, like we just kind of skimmed over him, like the max contract guy. And like, don't get me wrong, I get why we do that. Like, I do understand. Like, he does more than just like scoring output. Especially, he's been good in spots for the Sixers, especially in that game 2 where there was just a few moments where, the Celtics were climbing back. Maybe they hit a couple threes in a row. Maybe Jaylen Brown hit 2 threes in a row. And then, like, Paul George just comes down and hits, like, a contested mid-range, tough shot, makes it, gets us right, gets us back in flow. Can we get just, like, unconscious Paul George for one game? Like, can we get that Paul George for just one game? Because that will win you one game in a series.
This game.
Can we get this game?
Someone
get
Paul,
4 to 5
game because you keep talking about that swing, this game 3 swing, especially it would be 2 in a row for us. A man down without like this game, man. I don't need to get listen. I don't want to say this because that sounds stupid. If they go back to Boston 2-2, okay, right? Like that's still better than we ever thought it would be. My point is like they no-show tonight, get beat up, and then PG evens the series. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but like tonight, can I get that?
Yeah. I wouldn't be mad about it in a game 4 either. I think
no. Listen,
go back to
Boston 2-2 is a win, and it's because it's like no one expected us to win more than a game, maybe. But my point is like it's different in the regular season because it's different competition, right? You play a good team than a bad team, and that's when he shines. It's still the Celtics, it's still a playoff game if he does it Sunday. My point is like this feels like the opportunity, the moment to strike. And it's like if you have a clinker tonight, again, I get my overall view probably sounds stupid. Well, if they win game 4, it's a great thing. But like I'm asking for tonight. I'm asking for the swing game tonight to show the fuck up.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at too, man. Paul George. I think there will be a little bit more.
I can't stand watching him play. I don't have another Dembona ran in me right now, but I can't stand it.
He's got to play though, Dylan.
They have no other option.
So he does. Like, just finish at the fucking rim, man. That's really all I have from Bona. Yeah, I think Paul George, man. More attention on VJ. Jaylen Brown, he specifically mentioned VJ, and he's talking about he's a guy after the last game. So I wouldn't be surprised if they even go that route with VJ, maybe throw Jaylen Brown on him. And you still keep your eyes on Maxey all around. But Paul George can be that X factor and just open up the game for everyone, man. Because if you have Paul George hitting and then, maybe Kelly does get hot tonight. He gives you 3 threes, but maybe you don't get 30 from VJ, right? Maybe he's not hitting everything tonight.
Right. No, maybe he scores 19.
Right, exactly. Like maybe that's what he gives you tonight. Paul George, max contract guy. Max contract. Let's live up to it for just one game. Give us a Harden game. Give us a James Harden.
And you know what the interesting thing is, man, about the Paul George conversation is you kind of alluded to the fact that, we kind of just skate by him because he does more than just score, which for other guys, we're kind of just asking you to score.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that with most people. I think most people in this fan base have just written Paul George off. Like, I think they were, maybe weren't fans of the signing initially because of the age. and then the injury last year, and then the suspension this year, and he's old and he can't. I think people have just totally like he's not that guy anymore, and he can't win you a playoff game.
Yeah.
And regardless of the age and the situation, when I am paying you that type of money, if I'm the 76ers, I need a game out of you in this series.
Yeah. But, as we're talking through that, man, maybe it is just the franchise that shows up tonight and gives us one of those max games. Like, we haven't gotten one of those games yet either, to be fair. He's just been kind of he was like that steady force, when we need to be aggressive. Like I'm talking about the assists too. He's been great in the playmaking department, man. 8 assists, 1 turnover.
And he's not really turning the ball over. I think he had 3 in game 1, 1 in game 2. He just hasn't been efficient shooting the basketball.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what has to change, right? Like Tyrese can't be 11 for 24 tonight or 11 for 25 tonight.
I feel that, again. I guess I wonder. You're fine with VJ. I don't know. Like,
right. I think I agree with you until VJ comes out and has 10 in the first quarter. Do you continue to let it happen if you're Joe Mazzulla? And maybe you do. Like, maybe, hey, good luck. You keep doing this and win 3 more games. But all I'm saying is on a night-to-night basis, you just saw the kid win a game for you in Boston. He comes out tonight. VJ's 2 for 2 from 3 in the first 4 minutes. Is that drop coverage still going to fly? Or do you change up your look overall a little bit?
Would you say, I think this is an obvious answer, but would you say Paul George having a bigger game, like having the big game tonight, is just like the biggest, I guess, what would you call it, a revelation that the Sixers could have here in Philly? Like, I guess what I'm trying to say, if VJ comes out and has another game tonight, is that going to get the city and the team more excited than if Paul George shows up tonight and has a 30-plus point game?
So I'll say that it's for the VJ point. I think it still will for the city, but for me, it's the other direction. Like, okay. Listen. Paul George giving you 19 a night in a playoff series is still very solid, right? But that 19 a night looks a lot better if it's next to Maxey and Embiid, right? Not 19 a night as the second fiddle potentially. Only taking 8 shots in game 1. He was 7 for 13 in game 2. A little bit more aggressive, but not really in the top 3-4 category of aggressiveness for the Sixers. The Paul George thing for me is to show me that it's in there. Like, you can get me 20.
Exactly.
When you came back from the suspension, you went out and gave me give me one of those. I don't need that against the Chicago Bulls or the Washington Wizards or the New Orleans Pelicans. Can you come out and give me 28 or 29 in game 3 at home against the Boston Celtics at this point? That changes the series, because then that lets me know that the star equation from both sides, we still have that as an option.
Yeah. Yeah. Can I give you my biggest worry tonight?
Absolutely.
From Boston side is that we do have a Derek White game coming. Like, at some point we get a Derek White game where he hits, 4+ threes and, is getting momentum crushing rebounds. Maybe they're offensive rebounds.
Let me respond to that by saying 4 would be beautiful. Like, the Derek White game, when you phrase it that way, my fear goes to like
5
7.
or 6.
Like, not like 6, 7 threes. Like, and
a 30-point night for
yes. Like, if Derek White goes 4 for 10, it's still 40%. I get that, but 4 for 10 with 16, 17 points.
Yeah,
that's a good night. You have Tatum, you have Brown, Hauser's gonna hit. Like, that's still a good night.
Not a crushing.
But like the Derek Brown game you're talking about, the Derek White game you're talking about is 28 plus on 6+ threes.
Yeah. That is my.
And that's what we can't have next to Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I don't know. It's one of those things, if the ultimate, I guess, separator is if Boston comes out hitting at an unimaginable clip, it's going to be pretty hard to beat them on any night that they're, hitting from the 3-point line like that.
Unless we just decide to carry over game 2 shooting performance and drop 19 of our own.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm joking, not 9s, but exactly. Let me ask you a question. Regardless of what Boston does, right? Because if Boston comes out and fucking shoots 22 of 48 from 3, we're fucked. You would think, right? But let's say Boston's around there. Let's say Boston makes 17 threes in a game or whatever, which is still very, very good. I understand that. What's the median for the Sixers? Where do you need the Sixers to be from the 3-point line? Makes wise, not just efficiency, but makes wise to say, okay, if we're here, the rest of our game, getting to the basket, Paul George, we can still compete and win this game. What's the median line we have to be at for makes?
Probably 12 to 15-ish, I would say, 12 to 17 in that range. I mean,
I think 14 is a very good number. I think if you're around 14, if the Sixers shoot 14 for 32 from 3, you take that. And if Boston shoots 17 of 45, you make it up in the other areas.
It's like if you make 14 threes, then you just need to excel in something else, right?
Yeah.
You're going to have to beat them in the rebounding game or get to the free throw line more than what they do. I think the free throw line is something. Maybe at home, maybe you can get to the free throw line a little bit more against Boston tonight. Maybe something to shoot for, just be aggressive attacking the rim. But rebounding, that's another offsetter, right? Because more rebounds offensively for Boston, more 3-point attempts. But yeah, I would say 14, 15 and above. That would be ideal. You have a chance, right? I wanted to say double-digit threes, but it's Boston. You probably need to make a little bit more than that.
Absolutely.
15 seems like that's sweet spot.
I got the poll running. I want to start with your prediction for tonight, but then weekend as a whole. And again, I think we're going to be live at least for a little bit on Sunday at some point to get into that matchup if you're around. But I got the poll up now. The series will be blank after this weekend. Tied going back to Boston at 2 apiece. The Celtics go back up 3-1 and the series is over, or the Sixers go back to TD Garden up 3-1. Doubt they bury them in 5, but you got a 3-1 lead, and holy shit, things are different in this city. Give me the optimism. Give me what you're feeling.
I feel like we get 2. I feel like we get at least 2 in this series now. So I think we would have to win one of these 2. This game is just so huge. But yeah, I'm going to go with 2-2. I do have some inclination to 3-1. If Boston is if Boston is who I thought they were, they would go up 3-1. They would bounce back tonight and beat us. But they have shown that they can be frauds at times in the past. I know they've won the championship. I know they've gotten over the hump. I do get it.
I want to say one thing, man.
2-2, but
so first of all, the thought that this team could go back 2-2 to Boston, and if we have Joel at a game time decision tonight, and I don't think he plays tonight, I'm going to get that out of the way right now.
He's doubtful now. He got moved to doubtful.
Okay, but Game 5 on Tuesday or Wednesday, if it's 2-2, oh boy, strap the fuck in. So I'll gladly, anybody would take that in a heartbeat with how we thought the series was supposed to go. The one thing I want to say about Boston, I do agree. I think they're the best team in the East. What year did they win it? 23? Or 22? 23? What year did Steph beat them? 22? So did they go back and win it in 23?
25 would be OKC. Who was the year before OKC?
Was Boston 24 then?
Boston. I think.
All right. So I understand we're not far removed. It's just not the same thing. Like I think they're the best team in the Eastern Conference. I don't know how much that's saying compared to the rest of the league. It's the West, etc. But yeah, Tatum and Brown are the staples, and they were here. And I think Jaylen Brown's a better basketball player than Jason Tatum. You also had Kristaps Porzingis and Drew Holiday. You had the best starting five in the NBA that year. You just did. You did Drew Holiday on both ends. Derek White was still it's just, even with how good they are, when people, and I'm not saying that's what you were saying. I just mean when people go, oh, well, they're champions. Yeah, Tatum and Brown and White, yeah, they're champions. But two of the more important pieces of that team are no longer here. So I think there's an aspect in which you can get them. That's what I'm trying to say. Wow, again. He says, well, first he said if they win tonight, Boston is broken down, which I love. But then he says if they win tonight, he doesn't think Joel plays game 4. That's interesting. I think my thing with the whole Joel Embiid thing is I don't need extra rest. My thing is he's not good to go or he's good to go. So that's not tonight. It's not tonight. If it's not Sunday, it's not Sunday. But to me, I'm not playing it where, oh, well, they're up 2-1. Let's give him a couple more. Let's give him a couple extra days. Is he good? Because if he's good, if he could play, well, then he's playing.
I just think it's one of those things where they're putting out that designation, game time decision, doubtful. Yeah. He's not going to be 100% regardless of when he comes back. So I get what you're saying. I just don't think the Sixers are going to operate like that. They don't operate with logic or anything like that. So I just don't see it. I could see them coming back, putting him out there. If they lose tonight, maybe you throw him out there game 4 with a minutes restriction. Once again, I don't know if that is the best option to put him out there with a minutes restriction or unconditioned, right? But what the Bull RJ is saying is exactly, I guess, my feeling on it. I don't disagree with you that this is a lesser Boston team than in the past. I still think they're the best in the East. It just speaks to where the East is at, really.
Yeah.
But the Sixers just lose these games all the time. We build ourselves up. It's not like the Eagles, you know what I mean? Where, yes, the Eagles have lost games like this, but we've also seen the Eagles get over that hump. We've seen them go to the Super Bowl and win it. We've seen these guys show up in the biggest of ways, and we just have not seen the Sixers do that. And so that is what draws me back. This is going to be like a revelation tonight if the Sixers fucking win. It's going to be it's like a reality altering type of situation where it changes different multiverses if the Sixers win tonight. That's the type of game and type of situation we're in right
now.
Bro,
you and I watched game 3 against Boston the night he won his MVP. He got his MVP award 3 years ago at your house. Now, obviously, we were up 3-2 in that series, come back to Philly. So it still played out a certain way, and then we all know how that story ended. But, we lost game 3. We came back 1-1 from Boston. Game 3, that swing game, we lost. Then we won a crazy overtime Sunday game in game 4, and then we stole game 5, and then, we lost the next 2. But, we don't win this game ever. I know it, dude, I lost track of time. It's 1:04, so I know you got to get out of here.
I did too.
Ginn said, real quick, Ginn says, what's more likely, we get clobbered tonight or win?
It's either or, right?
Hey. Is it really either or? I think that this team now, whether they look themselves in the mirror, whatever they did following game 1, I think they have I do think they have too much heart to not get dog walked in their building after bringing the excitement back.
I want to believe that. I want to believe that.
Well, what's a close game? Like, what if they end up losing by 8? Like, is that a close game? Like, they're down.
Yeah.
Is it? Like when I don't know. Like you lose by 8-10. I don't know how close that ends up being in the last 3 minutes, 4 minutes.
8 could be Boston hitting 2 threes in the last.
Yeah,
2
no, that's true.
Create separation. You know what I mean? Whereas, but on the other end, it could be you hitting 2 threes at the end, where it doesn't matter to take it from 14 to 8. So it could be that way. I hate the bull RJ. He came in with like the accuracy for like where I'm at, and it's like. Yeah, that last game, look at how we talked about the Sixers going into that game. We did not have much hope in them winning.
And what do they
do?
And
they
now we get our hopes up, and they drop the hammer again. 1,000%.
Prove us that this is a change type of team. And like they have a different level of heart and dignity.
Tyrese, go be the franchise. VJ, piggyback off of that explosion. Kelly or Grimes and Paul, find a way to score tonight. Yeah, let's compete. Before we get out of here, Flyers tomorrow night, 8:00 at home, Game 4, up 3-0. Series over, or is it going back to Pittsburgh for Game 5?
I think they get them out of here. You don't want to go back to Pittsburgh and just waste that time. And I think they've shown enough through the first 3 games that if they want it, they can go out and get it tomorrow evening. So yeah, I think the Flyers complete the sweep. Man, do the Sixers get the dub tonight? I'm just going back and forth because like I'm trying to be optimistic. I'm not trying to bring the vibes down. It's not like that. I'm optimistic. But I am super nervous, and the historical context is in my brain. That's the best way to put it. We have a chance tonight to just shift that series so much, man. I want it badly. I want it badly.
Shut the fuck up. Flyers are getting
Get out of here, Gent. Get out of here. Happy Friday, brother.
No beer? What's wrong? Oh, he's probably coaching. He's probably away. But yeah, happy Friday. Guys, we will be back Sunday, I believe. I'll be coming home Sunday. And Scotty and I, whether it's jumping on TikTok, jumping on YouTube, Scotty just wrapped up the TikTok stream over there. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at DSM_media. Follow us on TikTok just at DSM-Media, all lowercase. And we'll tap back in with you guys over the weekend and see how this all shakes out. Peace out, everybody.